Hello and welcome back to a long overdue Sonic Boom TV review podcast. I am now going to try
Still sticking with that name.
I'm still sticking with it because Boomcast I can't use.
Yeah, because it's already been used.
Thank you, Sonic Stadium.
Yeah.
So as usual, there's me, Sonicguru, Niki Wormsty17, James
Yeah,
Hanleytude, and a newcomer, Clint.
Hello.
Who's new and actually has reviewed the entire series already, but this time, no scripting, just straight from the heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Tempting Towards a Season 3. That's not going to be the death of them.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, actually, speaking of plugs, this is also brought to you by the official UK releases of the series on DVD and the official Monopoly tie-in game, which my sister somehow got.
Don't rub it in.
Yeah.
Monopoly?
He's going to rub it in.
I gotta give the show some love, so give it some plug.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's pick up where we last left off, which was 6 months ago? Possibly.
Yeah, we'll put it this way, at this point we don't know if the show is going to continue, but sod it, let's pry on if it did.
Mm-hmm. So we finished up last, right before one of the biggest things ever to happen in the show, that they teased a while back, a multi-part episode.
Indeed.
For a series that touted itself like, oh yeah, there's no continuity on this. Well, there's plenty of continuity in this season. Especially
It has continuity, depends
especially
when it
this four-parter.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
It's kind of what this is the type of story that I think the series as a whole has been needing. I mean, yeah, we like the jokey one-off aspect of it, but there was something about even rewatching this four-parter and it just back to back right before we were watching this. Yeah, I'm guilty. I rewatched a few things.
Why do you need to be guilty of rewatching a show you like?
Yeah.
Should be proud of that.
The episode in question is the four-parter Robots from the Sky.
Yes, indeed.
And it's kind of a much needed turn to take the show seriously for a while, or as serious within the confines of the formula that they are willing to go.
Clinton, you okay? You look frozen.
Oh no, I'm just.
You are so still.
Like I said, we do tend to walk over each other's lines when we talk, so if you have something to say, fair enough.
Yeah, we have a story. Sonic and friends realize that there are. Whenever I read the title of this, I just want to take a line from Within the Woods. There are robots in the sky. I don't know why, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, robots from the sky. There's a cloud city that is entirely based on a robot population, and they find this out when one of them crash lands on Earth, and
It's
Earth,
their world,
or their world.
Yeah.
It's Earth in another dimension. The comics established that. Oh wait, where are the comics now? Damn it!
let's see what IDW done comes up with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Archie's starting to get
in the middle.
It
starts off in the middle of a fundraiser, a car wash fundraiser to update the daycare center, which is no more than a cage.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because they need to update their own views on how to take care of children.
Oh, considering a later episode, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
But a ship crash lands down and contains two named robots with an Orbot and Qbot, Bolts and Myton.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
who, despite being good, just like these heroes are destroying robots. We're robots. They're enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, basically, they oversee a typical Eggman battle and draw the conclusion that, oh, these guys are dicks to machines.
I actually did like Nighton and Bolt, because I remember the first we heard of these characters were just the concept art from Fire and Ice on 3DS. So
Which I
remember unlocking that, and they introduced these characters and they didn't give a hint that they're going to be a part of a special. So I remember seeing the concept art and they just show the. So I was thinking just by looking at them, like, I have a feeling I'm probably going to be annoyed by this episode. These are probably going to be like real arrogant, jerkish characters, and so seeing how they're introduced here, I liked it. I liked how it was all a misunderstanding for why they fought Sonic and pals. So yeah, starting off as characters who, looking at them, I'm like, I have a feeling these characters are going to annoy me, and then actually seeing the episode, it's like, oh yeah, I like these guys. They're fun.
Well, considering that they basically, one looks like, an off-branded Optimus Prime, and the other one's a frog. Kind of like...
That's exactly what I thought. It's like, he looks like a frog.
Yeah. Voiced by Mike Pollock.
How can we... it's like if they merged a frog with Wally. This is their ultimate...
Yeah, and give him the voice of Boo Boo, which is what Mike apparently needed to do for this role.
Oh, that's Mike Pollock doing the role?
Yeah, Mike Pollock.
Oh yeah, I could tell it was a high-pitched Mike Pollock. I'll admit, like, for... like, now I know who it is, but I'll remember, like, for Mike Ton, it's like, I'm wondering who voices him, and it's Wally Wingert.
Yeah. Yeah, both Cubot and, Orbot and Shadow, of all people.
No,
God, he does a lot
Shadow,
of voices.
Shadow is Kirk Thornton.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Orbot.
Sorry, wrong guy.
Orbot,
Sorry.
Yeah,
DW
Kirk
Barker.
Thornton is the worst fucking Shadow in my opinion.
Whatever.
Your
Not
shitty
a complaint.
craftsmanship brings shame to all heads your kind. You trying to be cool?
What do you know about IKEA design?
God, every time I do a recording, my nose itches.
Yeah.
But they go with Eggman because it's like, oh, he makes robots, so therefore he might be good. We learn about a city in the sky called Morrisville.
Yeah. Which we might as well bring up.
Name something better.
Yeah.
That's the running joke.
That's not really the best running joke that this... okay. Despite the perks of this series, of this particular arc, that's not really the best. That's not the best running joke that they could have possibly done there, because every name that they come up with, it's like, oh, Morristown doesn't work, but Robotopia somehow works, and then I'm like listen to all these, and they're like,
Don't say Robotropolis. Just say Robotropolis. That's all I was thinking of every time I did that.
I would have loved it if they said Robotropolis.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
What
Though?
about Robotropolis?
No, they had to say
sounds
Sky Sanctuary.
Sky Sanctuary got dropped. Like, okay, that will do, but still, can you just please call it Robotropolis? Are you still saying anything? What about Robotropolis? Nah, it seems too generic.
I could have sworn they did, because, well, spoiler alert, but didn't Hypnobot say that? Or, like, what was, like, I
He
remember...
gave another name. I'm struggling to remember what it was, and I just rewatched it recently. Actually, sticking with the name thing, during most of the episodes that premiered on, for most of season 2, there was basically Ask the Boom Crew Twitter feed. So often when the show came up, they came up with a little like, oh, here's what we did. So one of the facts was the Morristown thing was just a brainstorming gag they came up with, and as I said, it's all a joke at New Jersey. Which, well, to you American, you tell me, what's up with New Jersey? Is it just a...
Well, I don't want to offend anyone, but based off a lot of comedy shows I've seen, it's usually it's the butt of a joke. I don't know why, but I mean, like, I remember Madagascar 2 even made fun of that. Oh, this place looks like a dump. Are you sure we're not in New Jersey?
Yeah, so...
Yeah. I have a buddy named Sam who would argue otherwise.
So maybe
I think he's on the good side of New Jersey. Apparently, there's two sides to New Jersey. But anyway,
the one good side is the one that you enter when you get ejected from John Malkovich's head.
Anyway, the Sonic crew actually decided, you know what, we're not going to go with Styx's idea of a robo-apocalypse.
Well, they pretty much go like, yes, Styx, this is the robo-apocalypse.
Just not the way you think.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The robo-apocalypse is nigh!
I love Nika Futterman. I really do. Her voice is great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They find the ship and...
Well, Tails gets the geek out.
Yeah.
Apparently that's the thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of groovy, which is a different word, so...
And Eggman seems to be a bit more... I won't say a bit more, but kind of equally rude to Orbot and Q-Ball, which, you know, when you're doing it in front of other robots who are sentient...
Yeah...
Well, considering you guys, like, insult me. You're bad. What? Oh, dude, you're not bad.
Okay, you're ugly. Yeah.
Yeah, they could have gone... Yeah, it's... I guess this show is a little too serious, but they could have really dived deep into that and gone into a whole sub-theme about robots being, you know, some sort of Philip K. Dick sort of undertone where just robots are another race or what have you.
Do androids dream of electric sheep? I don't know, let's ask one.
I don't know, I just sort of, sheep.
Mostly square.
And I'm just playing the episode in the background, so I'm actually keeping up with the events. So it's like, oh, I don't roll each other all the time. Hey, Cuba, you do me. Okay, you're ugly. What?
Yeah. But I do love before then there's a little bit when they're heading to the ship and they talk about the idea for peace, and then Styx's idea is when that's happening we bash them over the head with a brick.
Then that carries over later in the episode when she's about to do it.
That
sounds like
that was a funny moment. I like that.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
But he also comes up with another running gag as well later, where basically, Orbot and Q-Bot just happens to know where Tails lives.
That
Well,
part was
it's the fact
hilarious. I just love Sonic and Amy's casual response to Orbot and Q-Bot being there. It's like, oh, what is it? They're so used to them always having to come to them for help when Eggman goes too far. And
that's Johnny Moore running.
Yes, Sonic, Q-Bot, and Orbot are here to probably run out Eggman again.
Are we really that predictable?
Let's talk him or rat him.
Yeah.
Yes.
They know that's become a routine for them. It's like, Eggman's doing something a bit ridiculous. It's probably getting out of hand. Can you help us, please?
Always the same.
Yeah.
That's what I love about Orbot and Q-Bot. I mean, you really, like, you know, they're evil henchmen, but at the same time, you know they're better than that. But it's like, what can they do?
Well, one's a genius, the other's an idiot, and it's basically, okay, out of the three of us, who's the real psycho?
Q-Bot.
It's like having Laurel and Hardy as your lackeys, you know.
Then again, that's a tradition in all the Sonic shows now.
Yeah, I think that is the tradition now. It pretty much is the replacement for Scratch and Grounder, which are the only other two good lackeys Eggman had.
Yeah.
To be honest,
the other one, the other. When I look at Orbot and Q-Bot, though, I think they're more of the who are those two robots in the Sonic X show?
Deco and Boko.
Oh,
I
Doku.
fucking hate them.
Obo and Doku. Yeah, those two.
Deco and Boko.
Yeah, that's
Deco and Boko.
Bo-Kun was the little devil-looking thing.
Oh yeah,
Bo-Kun.
Bo-Kun was the
the one with the random bomb dropping.
I always thought he was
the
like
coconuts of the group. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always thought he was a dark child when I first saw the show.
No, Dan would have not. Dan would have known. He's the Chow fanatic.
Yeah. Look, I have it over here.
Evidence. Yeah.
That's not a dark child, though.
No,
but it is a Chow.
He's a Chow. That never counts.
Oh, Dark Chow. I thought you said a dark child. I was like, what?
Oh, God, no. That's terrible.
No, you're thinking Damien.
Well, it is Japan. They're a little bit more lenient on that sort of thing, but
Anyway. Grudge.
they would never sell it over here.
Yeah, I always thought, like, I honestly never cared for Eggman's previous henchmen, and Orbot and Q-Bot were the only ones that I loved, and it's like, okay, I hope these guys stay, and I remember, like, Sonic Generations really teased the idea that Eggman ditched them. Remember, like,
Yeah.
it showed how he abandoned.
It was
like,
kind of weird.
no!
Like, in Sonic Colors, they introduced like 2 new lackeys. Okay, why is it here? Well, it's kind of based on
the robot from Unleash.
SA55, which is called Sass.
There we go.
Apparently, that's his name. SA55, Sass. That's its name. But I call it Ergo. Everyone else calls it Arbot. I think, no, it's not Arbot. That's Arbot. That's not.
Yeah.
I remember telling Niki about this. Like, there might be a tragic backstory. Like, it's funny but sad at the same time behind Orbot. You know, like, notice how, like, you know, you compare the original version of Orbot from Sonic Unleashed, and then compare it to how he is in Colors. It's almost like Eggman got so sick of his back talk to the point where he modified him to the point where Orbot has no choice but to talk like he's always afraid of Eggman. And that's why he has such a nervous voice. It's pretty dark, but messed up if
with
you
a bad
think.
voice. Then they were brought back in Lost World because why not? And then
Well, it changed from
rarely
voice
used in Forces, apparently.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Rarely.
they're in Forces.
Yeah. When they were showed off in the trailer for this show, I thought, oh, for fuck's sake, please don't include any game stuff in here. And like, no, they work better in Boom than they do in the actual mainline series.
Yep.
Cubot's comedy is just great. It's like, are those cookies? Evil cookies. Great! I'll go get the evil milk!
I think one of my favorites, and well, it was Insanity actually. We reviewed about is the whole. No, was it Insanity? I can't remember, but it was it was a bit where they're trying to con the people with a bird, and it's just like, no, we're not supposed to do that.
No birds.
Yeah, there are no birds.
Okay.
Yeah. So moving on with
The robots.
Yeah.
The other ones.
robots in the
So,
sky.
after the ratting out, they decided to bust down Eggman's door again.
Which he finally announced that you keep doing this.
Well, I have to give you a key? Oh, that'd be great.
But later.
So, ensue robot battle. Just to
So
say,
you cute fight, Eggman gets electrocuted, so we see skeleton again.
yeah.
Now, the fight scene there was actually really good. There's something about it that felt more interesting than most battles. I don't know what maybe it was the smoother animation, but I remember there was something about that where it's like, wow, this battle is a little more interesting than ones you normally see. And it technically is more of the same.
It's a lot more choreographed.
Mhm.
It's like, there's a scene where Amy knocks an Orbot into 3D bots, but they have shields, and Knuckles punches bounces off. Knuckles punches it back and destroys all 3
And the shields break, yeah.
Yeah, they made the robot deaths look more gruesome in this. I mean, like, you see, like, sticks decapitating them in slow motion, you know?
As she would.
So they end up saving Myton and Balls, who was going to just walk out. And it's like, oh yes, the password protected. Well, you should have picked a better password than password 123. Surprisingly, a lot of people still use that password.
I know, but I would have done the joke of, Eggman rules 91.
Well, better than just making your password, but...
It could have used better password than I hate Sonic. Spelled with an 8.
Replace the letters with numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Cool,
password,
that
I'm
was a
jealous
king.
of Sonic. Password, I'm jealous of Sonic.
Yes. I'm lonely.
Eggman rules with a Z. Z, whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it below him to do that.
Mm.
At least not in
Anyway.
this show.
Yeah, but anyway, we move on to them all, getting together. Thanks for the help, and thank you for not bashing me over the brick. Bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we think it's at the end, but in fact, no, it's the first of a 4-parter, as Tails dies, apparently.
Which was rumored to have happened in Sonic Forces, but never actually came true. And
Yeah, well, put it there's 2 things I have to say. One is, there was a Sega stream which Yukazar, boss of Sonic Team, came up, which Aaron said that to him, and he just went like, thinking, really? Nobody told me this. And then realized, okay, that's a silly joke. And I also say this because I did do a vid skit of the ending part of that, where Freakazoid was going, on paper it was funny. Because it does sound like something that it would be a funny gag, and then realizing, and the amount of comments I get, no, please don't let him die, and then I had to do another one where he's actually not dead.
Well, before,
Welcome to another running gag that's going to be played out. Knuckles making some sort of jab at cliffhanger.
Cliffhangers. Yeah.
That always bugged me because it was funny the first time, but then like in part 2 when he started like insulting the writers, it's like it's not their fault. I mean, this aired all in one day in France, and so blame the network for splitting it into 4 areas.
I've got nothing against that. I just wish by part 3 he would have gone like, really? They better conclude this, otherwise I'm off the series.
Don't worry, I told the writers, that's the last time I'm doing this. At least say that. At least be very meta about it.
Yeah.
Until the next time we do a multi-part series,
which will be a lot later on when we get to it.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yes.
I don't know why I said it like 3 times in a row. There is technically another 2-parter coming up, but it's played out very well.
Well, that's a little different, but we'll talk about that.
It is technically a 2-parter, in my
opinion.
opinion.
We'll get to that.
Perfect, but I'll admit it was better than Sonic Forces, at least.
Well, there you go. There's your running joke.
I had so much to say about the story. I actually made a video about it. Click me out in the corner to actually figure it out.
Yeah. Anyway, let's stick with this story for the minute.
Anyway, Robots in the Sky Part 2 starts with Tails obviously surviving because, hey, we can't have people die in this show.
Also, Tails can never die. That's the one fact everybody knows about.
Yeah.
And then they revealed who shot him, and it was the Cubot clones. Well,
the clones of the Cubots.
I agree with us. You're the same people. Well, I wear a hat!
Yeah, I was not expecting that, It's like, what are these things? And then it's like, what's the Cubots? Yes. And they're somehow corrupted. And
yes.
Although the way they find out how to deform them is, to subdue them
is continuity. Yeah, that was good continuity. Just push that big button on their head that caused them to just collapse. And then I loved how afterwards, Styx is like, I'm worried, Tails. And he's like, don't worry, I'll put them back together. That's what I was worried about.
They're like one of those. They're like one of those old collapsing statues. Spring loaded. You just press on the bottom and.
Well, considering one of them pushed their own buttons before, so it's not like that.
Yeah, just don't push the.
Yeah.
So they've been corrupted with malware, which anyone who has a PC is quite familiar with that.
I wouldn't know because I got a Mac.
It took out the life of my last computer. Rest in peace.
Well, I'm well, Mac's got its own set of problems. Haha.
You get to see Eggman naked in a bath.
Second time.
Yeah.
The first time we got a penis joke.
Are you making fun of me? That was so funny.
Yeah, so we get to see his very moisturized upper body.
The thing is, though, he doesn't take his glasses off, so maybe they're permanently glasses.
Yeah. I want people to fear and respect me. Rubber Ducky fears and respects you. That did make me feel a little better.
Yep. It's why they always have bubble baths in movies. But no one's actually crazy enough to do that so frequently in real life.
It's just a cartoon novelty, something that people are just so used to seeing when they grew up, and they just have to put it in their movies. But so yeah, and then it carries on where we see Eggman's robots, including Orbot and Cubot, are all of a sudden
walking out,
being just and then they start attacking the village. And I actually did get a good laugh out of the scene when Amy called Sonic to let him know what's going on.
It's Code Teal. The camera come with the resonant rates again. No, that's Code Turquoise. They're the same thing. No, it's not. One's greenish blue, the other's bluish green. Get it right.
Do I have to take you down and look at swatches again?
No, please no.
Sounds like you and Sarah.
I also got a laugh out of
it's kind of like us, but the thing is, I know what teal and turquoise is, and so does she.
Okay.
Well, that and
that's what happens when you have two artists in the same house.
I also laughed at before Amy gets cut off. I just love when you see that big robot behind her. He's like, "Oh, tough guy, huh?" And then you hear her give that barbaric scream, and then it's just Sonic Tails are just looking in shock. That part was so funny.
Like I said, don't mess with Amy; she'll kill you.
Mm-hmm. And then the next time it cuts her, you see she's beating the crap out of it. Oh, hey guys!
Yes.
The show, I will say this in early episodes as well, especially later ones, is how self-aware the show is being. Just immediately after that, basically, how does this day get any worse? And all of a sudden the Cubots come back online. It's like, have you learned not to take up action like that?
Well, to me, it was one of the show's strengths and weaknesses. It was funny when they used it sparingly, but then when they kept doing episode by episode where they kept having all this meta humor, it just started coming across as, okay, you writers aren't going to do anything better. You're just going to point out the obvious without, it's funny for a while, but then when you keep seeing it too much, it does get a little tiring. But I'm not saying the show's bad for it. It's just, it's like, okay, we get it. You're self-aware, we get it,
Well... There are some later points where I give them there are some later self-aware jokes in the series where I give them major props, but yeah, we'll get to that eventually.
I like them when they use it sparingly. That's the best. But then when they keep making episodes in a row that just have them, even like there are even episodes where they do multiple in one episode, and it's like, okay, we get it, But it's fine though. But. Okay,
it honestly depends on how they use the fourth wall joke.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at least in this one,
exactly.
that's like
how they use it.
Okay. At least
you want to see some creativity when they use it. Yeah.
But say moderately alright in these four partners, so it's not like they've gone overboard yet.
Mm-hmm. So back to the episode, it then went where the robots are attacking, and then Sonic and Tails notice it's coming from Robokin, and so they decide to fly there, while Amy, Knuckles, and Sticks decide to stay behind and fight off the robots from destroying the village.
I gotta say, I love them, because again, the Sega Social Site used to tease up some of these, and one of the images was of Sticks and Amy and Knuckles in a pose, which I remember looking at that, and this looks like something out of a James Bond poster, might as well call it The Echidna Who Knew Us.
Yeah, right when they do the pose, you just see like an explosion.
Yeah.
They punch off.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, that to me is just brilliant. I mean, again, if people say the animation is stiff, well, at least the posing's good. I mean, you can give them that.
And that's like, we'll get to it later, but one thing that really surprised me is, when you read the description for these episodes, it made it sound like, oh, this is mostly going to be an episode a 4-part focusing on just Sonic and Tails. They're just going to have a few scenes that cut back to Sticks, Knuckles, and Amy. And so I loved how part 4 got them more involved after that, and that really made it more fun, instead of just having these cutaways that don't really need to be there of them fighting off robots. I did love how the special made it more than just Sonic and Tails focused.
Yeah, Knuckles has got to give his big motivational speech to the...
We'll get that to part 3. Yeah.
To the people, and stand up and fight, even though... I want you all background characters.
You mean your background?
Yeah. Those in between.
Mm-hmm. But so then there's the big dogfight scene, where we actually see Sonic and Tails fighting off an army of ships, chasing after them, and that part was actually pretty entertaining. They even managed to throw in a Star Fox reference.
Well, funny enough, going back to the little tribute fact when they put this on Twitter, basically, they just decided to do the jet fight, alien fight for Independence Day, minus the parachute stupid trick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But,
also,
I like the... Oh, sorry.
Zoe spotting.
Yes.
Keeping tally.
He knows. Trust me, he's been on the Zoe thing since day one, this guy.
Is he a big fan of that character?
Well, what do you have to say, James?
I'm a fan of the shipping aspect.
Okay.
Same here. I'm not a big Sonic shipper, but God, Zoe is just too cute for Tails.
Oh yeah.
And then it's a shame that like for the characters that people actually did like, it is a shame the show just didn't. I saw a lot of people loved Zoe and Percy, and it's like, well, tough luck. That's all you're gonna get from them in season 1.
Yeah, blame Sega.
Now season 2. You got a lot more Percy as well as the twin Stacy, which I don't think it was intentional.
It's how they portrayed Percy though that annoyed people, because people liked Percy when she had some story behind her. She's like, at least if you mix what happened in Rise of Lyric with the show, because she's like the daughter of a mechanic. She's the only one who actually cared about protecting the village when everyone else was more concerned about the mayor's election. And so she was a
descendant of a group of protectors of the village.
Exactly. She had a role, and even in Sonic Boom, they portrayed her as like a character who could take care of herself. And then in Sonic Season 2, she's nothing but a flirt. She's basically the Hello Nurse from Animaniacs of this show. Except splitting.
I think it's mostly Stacy at this point, because I think it's
But-
a later one. I think it's
The
it's a
other
late.
one.
Is it a later
Well,
episode?
here's the thing: they're almost like the same character, almost. They're like Stacy, like in
their headband is.
in the episode the Lightning Bowler Society, they did show that Stacy has a different person, but for what they're mostly used for, they're mostly just background characters, or something for the guys to kind of get infatuated with. That's all they're used for, and it's like. They could have made more it's like, what if they made an episode where Tails and Burr started, realizing they're the only ones who share a love of mechanicry besides Eggman, I guess, They could have made an episode that showed, them working together, or what could have they done with it? But okay.
If they would just eliminate the role of Mary Sue, the rule of Mary Sueism, then
That's a thing.
But oh well. Moving
back
forward,
to the dogfight.
the dogfight was pretty awesome.
Yeah. One thing I will say, sorry, before we move on quickly, is two things quickly. One is I actually, for my sake, I actually edited these as one full part because I did wanted to see if they will work as one whole story instead of 4 separate episodes. And also, when I was rewatching them, I noticed there is a shot of an animation mistake, and I don't think Sonic Wiki's picked this up, so they're listening. There's a shot of Tails' goggles kind of not color tilted, so instead of that orangey glow, they just look like see-through. So there you go, kids.
Not sure if I noticed that one, but
Right, but hey, that's what happens when you spend all your day editing about a children's program.
So we finally get back to Morristown, which has yet to be called Robokin.
So we do get a quick bit of the village getting even more shit canned because Fernbot pops up and starts trying to kill everyone.
He's transformed back into Fiend.
Yes.
although
And we get a great
Sonic, and going back to Sonic and Tails, Sonic discovered the tilt seat controls.
Elevator up,
elevator up, elevator
down.
We find out that we find out who's behind all this mess, and
Not until next time.
Not until the next.
Because the
they get to the
entire
town to
city
find out.
is deserted.
Yeah.
Or at least,
it's not the paradise they were told it was.
no, there's stains everywhere.
Yeah. It's more abandoned than Comedy Jim's last special when his wife left him.
That was a good line.
That wasn't a joke.
Oh, yes, laugh.
I'm sorry. Did we have Bill Freeburger in this?
Yes, he did. He does have a quick hair in part 3.
Ah, well.
So I guess we're ready to move on to part 3 then?
Yeah, we're on to
Yeah.
part 3.
I thought we already did. Anyway.
No, there was still. I don't know what I was talking about. Anyway, they're in Morristown and just deserted. Completely
Deserted.
They get attacked by more robot sentries, but then they get saved by like a robot telling them to go in their bunker. They go in there and then they find out
Oh, good.
there's like a rebellion.
A stranger
led by,
in the dark alley.
and then they find out there's Miton and Bolts who are leading this rebellion. And so they point out how all the robots are being controlled by, some kind of signal, and it's mind controlling them. So they're safe in that bunker, though. If any robot leaves, so Sonic and Tails realize it's only affecting robots, so they can go out and try to protect them. And so, they set off, and then I think it cuts back to a little bit of, what's going on in Hedgehog Village. So, we see, like, Amy and Styx getting chased by Friendbot. And I loved how they... I remember when I watched the episode Fiendbot...
Styx wasn't in it, yeah.
Yeah, and so I loved how it's like, okay, they intentionally did that. They...
I thought it was called
there's another reason.
Friendbot. He's really nice once you get to know him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when he's not...
it makes sense. It also makes sense why they didn't include Styx in that episode, because let's face it, even if they knew he was good, she still would have wanted to destroy him. So it made sense why they excluded her from that
they're
episode.
still trying to destroy him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's
There's
a later episode.
ways.
It's a later episode. Is exactly the same thing, and I have a lot to say about. But we're not going to get it into this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway,
I loved how this special, gave a good continuity to why Styx wasn't in that episode.
Yeah, the show has continuity. It just depends
She
when
pointed
it
out she wasn't in that episode. She wasn't able to meet him.
Og returns.
Yeah.
Ogman is back.
I like Og.
Yeah, Og gets a little ass kicking. Well,
Usually I'm a pacifist, but today I'll be passing fists. I mean, it's such an obvious
It
joke.
just reminds me of that rabbit from the Magic Roundabout movie for some reason. It's just, I don't believe in violence.
Are you insulting Hawk?
Except in self-defense.
No. We're just talking about again. Quick story short, weird French show translated to English, and everybody thought the rabbit was on drugs.
Yes, the one where yes, I remember that movie. The one where they
where they got
where they anglicized it and made some terrible jokes.
Yeah, where I'm from, that movie's called Dougal. I've never seen it, but I heard it was bad. What they
This
did.
is coming from a guy who saw the Teen Titans trailer. Says, "I've done fart jokes, and mine's are more funnier than this." Yes, Kevin Smith farting. That's genius. Anyway, enough Butch Hartman bashing.
So then we.
Anyway, back onto the speech. This is the bit James took it.
Oh,
That's good to
well,
say.
I don't think that happened yet. That didn't happen yet. It happened after what's about to happen. So Sonic and Tails.
Okay, right. I thought that happened right afterwards.
Sonic and Tails needed to find out, who was behind all this. They
But they get lost because they kind of go left.
so they get redirected by some security robots to take them to their leader, and it turns out to be Hypnobot from
Season 1.
And all of a sudden he's sentient. He can speak. He sounds like Shere Khan from the Jungle Book. He has like a deep voice. And
and apparently, yes, he survived after being blown up by a random bouncing poodle.
And he wants revenge because he was built as a robot just to fight for their entertainment, and then it's like once he gets destroyed, Tails just left him, and so the robots from Robokin found him, repaired him, gave him sentience, and all of a sudden, it fueled him to realize he felt betrayed, and he used his hypnosis ability to take over all of Robokin. And I gotta say, like, one line that really cracked me up was, when Sonic said, "This is how you repay them, by taking over? Not cool, dude. I lost all hope of being cool the day Tails built me in his image." Aww.
I just looked at the screen right there and I said, "Screw you."
Well, I didn't see it as the writers bashing Tails. It was
no,
it's Tails. It's like I didn't see it as them making fun of Tails. It was Hypnobot making fun of Tails.
Actually, one thing
it's like it's one of those moments where it's so brutal you can't help but laugh.
Yeah, I'm just sort of sitting there thinking like this kid makes airplanes, submarines, spaceships. What have you done except take them over?
Like this is coming from a guy where Tails was one of my favorite characters. I was able to laugh at that scene. I mean, I am aware some people actually were offended by that scene. A lot of some people thought like this whole story arc was just to bash on Tails. Like people actually thought like him getting shot at the end of part 1 was bashing. It's like, really? I remember, it's like that scene didn't make me go like, oh, that was bashing Tails. It made me go like, oh no, what's gonna happen to Tails? And
But actually, funny enough, somebody else has reviewed this. Adam T. Bird of Sonic Stadium, who actually got to see this, even though they haven't bothered to put it in the UK, but that's another story. Did say one of the things he pointed out is saying the majority of these 4-parters is more or less. It's really about Tails of anything else, because of course he's the one who discovers about this and gets intrigue, and of course. Why everything is happening, and he's the one to solve the problem. So it is, I wouldn't say it's an arc for him, but it's definitely very centric around him.
But people thought, like, from what I heard, like, I'm not saying I agree with them, but from what I heard, people said this was bashing Tails, because some people thought the episode that kicked this off, technically, Robot Battle Royale, they thought that was an episode all about bashing Tails, because, Tails didn't want to be a part of that robot building thing, but Knuckles pressured him into it by, acting like a jock, and then I heard people were like complaining how Sonic, Amy, and Styx weren't supporting Tails. They were just going like, oh, and it's like, is that really worth getting offended over? I mean, I thought they were.
They are.
It is in this fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the fact
so they took that episode as like a bullying Tails episode. Tails only went into it because of peer pressure, and then they felt like this new 4-parter was bashing Tails for something he didn't want to do in the first place.
No, if you want bashing Tails,
this point,
the Sonic parodies on the internet. That's pretty much like, oh yeah, we're gonna brutalize the buggery out of it.
So just to be clear, that's not my view on the episode. That's just what I've heard from some.
I know, but those are sort of people I'll go like, yeah, you have your theory, and I'm just gonna close the door and go somewhere else.
It's at this point you just have to sit back and wonder, why are you people still watching this?
And why is so passionate about it?
Yeah, I loved Robot Battle Royale. I thought it was a funny episode. And so Yeah, I thought, the fact that this episode continued on to that was, I mean, yeah, it technically doesn't make much sense, though, with,
Well, like I
how...
said, I mean, the poodle
It
somehow...
easily could have been Metal Sonic, but we got a pretty decent one for him as well.
We'll talk about
We got a very unexpected villain based off a nostalgia from, a previous episode, and that was kind of cool.
I guess one series counts as nostalgia, I guess.
If
So
a
then we
if a
cut
second
to
season can be
Knuckles'
nostalgia.
Then we cut to Knuckles' speech, and
Yes.
so to me that scene was a little disappointing because keep in mind before I saw this episode, I saw the the French version first, so no subtitles. So
Okay.
I watched and I thought that scene looked really dramatic, and then you watch it and you realize it's a hoax. It's a joke. He inspires them because they're so selfish. They don't care about protecting their village. They only care about protecting their stuff, and that just seemed a little,
Well, when push comes to shove, would you do the same?
Well, that's technically yes, but would people really be open about it? I mean,
Yeah, but like I said,
like the
We
fact
must
that you're
protect
seeing,
our mailboxes.
the fact that you're seeing like Walrus Lady, she doesn't care about protecting her babies. She only cares about protecting her stuff, and
well, the baby pictures.
they don't care about. They don't
That
want to help
includes babies.
They don't want to help Sticks, Knuckles, and Amy out because they're risking their. They just want to do it because.
Well, to
they
be fair,
won't.
they're carrying little
I just-
shits anyway, so you got to give them some incentive. So if they're going to nick your hard drive full of all your porno, that's the moment to get angry.
I don't know. I personally just don't like those kind of jokes in movies. I don't like scenes that try so hard to make people look like jerks just for a cheap laugh. It's been done to death. People
I
have
know,
done
but
it.
it's
I
not,
let it
it's not just
go.
cliche. It's
But no,
trope.
I'm not gonna say it ruined the episode for me. Like it was kind of amusing to see Knuckles, cause like a rebellion. But I just felt the motives behind it were kind of weak.
Well, then again, this is Boom Knuckles, so
Because
it's going to be.
It was cool to see the villagers, rise up and fight. But I still like the idea of Knuckles actually inspiring them instead of just cheap laughs, but it was still kind of cool. I mean, you gotta see them do all this stuff. But then what also ruined it is what happens afterwards. It's like right when they fight off all the robots, Amy, roots them up and saying like, "Good job, everyone. Now let's clean up this," and then they just don't give a
Put
crap.
it off.
Like, oh, screw you, villagers.
Yeah, but this
I
is the thing,
thought
people.
everything you're complaining about here is the stuff that I found funny. But okay, go.
I don't know. I just don't like how the show keeps using Amy as kind of like the butt of the joke. And I know I was just complaining how I feel people are doing the same thing with Tails, and I don't agree with it. But I don't know. Like with Amy, it's
Different
at least they
strokes.
give Tails a lot of cool scenes, and Amy they barely give her anything. But yeah, I still liked this episode. It had a few nitpicks, but I still liked it mostly for Hypnobot, and of course the scenes we haven't gotten to. Sonic and Tails trying to escape, and Sonic actually gets his leg busted because Tails couldn't go forth with
Yeah,
trying to take.
I was
I
rewatching
thought that was
and
a
I
really
was
cool
surprised.
scene. I mean, they really made Sonic look like in pain there. You hear like the crack of his, ankle getting smashed. And I actually felt Sonic's pain during that scene, and I mean not once but twice. And
I'm surprised they showed that because,
Mhm.
again, they haven't shown this in the UK. But sometimes when there's violent scenes, often they'll just cut it out, or you'll hear it, but you won't see it. So if you ever
I
bother
love
to
it
show,
when I love it when family shows do that, when they don't shy away from having some shocking scenes. Like
Yeah, they
I
did that
don't
with,
necessarily like gross out scenes, but scenes that can make you feel uncomfortable to challenge the
They did
audience.
that
That
with
is
Dragon Ball Kai when it was on Nickelodeon. Fuck knows why. And every single time someone got punched in the face, it was just black screen or white screen or a black screen
yeah,
with
a
a
lot of shows do
little
that.
white splash.
Sonic-
So like,
Sonic Boom is kind of guilty of that too, but they use it like in a quick way, like an episode we're gonna get to soon. The Flea episode. That one. Okay, we'll get to that soon, but
Well, we'll see how we go.
yeah, but it's like that one surprisingly was violent, and it didn't. I don't recall it really using like the white flash it normally does when a
Yeah.
character gets hit, and so that was actually what helped make that scene a little more amusing. And it's like, wow, I was not expecting him to not hold back during that scene.
well, it's still better than turning a predominantly black character who looks like an alien into a blue.
Blue.
Just
Yeah, that was weird.
hey, I'm blue.
So yeah,
purple."
like so Tails is like hanging off a ledge. Sonic is trying to pull him back up, but then Sonic gets his ankle
Falls
smashed again, and
Yeah.
so eventually, like I can't remember what caused
Basically- No, it's
Hypno-
basically Hypnobot falls off the edge, falls into the ice bit, into the ice, whatever you want to call it, the thing in the pilot, basically, that place. causes the thing
kind of glacier water, whatever.
Yeah, whatever, that thing in the pilot.
So yeah, my Bolt saves Sonic until they see, we see Sonic getting his leg patched up. Tails feels like it's all his fault, and
thanks to the power of duct tape, because that solves everything.
So,
Be surprised.
Duct tape, woohoo.
Sonic then, Sonic then says like, "Hey, at least things worked out." And then meanwhile, we see Eggman finds Hypnobot, and then part 4. Do we have any last things to say before moving on to part 4? Or?
I will say I did find it funny that we cut back to Eggman who's just eating non-branded cereal on his own. But sad over the years.
Mm-hmm. So,
it opens up with Sonic getting communicated with by Amy and goes, "Was that your girlfriend?"
I'm a huge Son Amy fan, and so that scene got a laugh out of me.
They are hinting at it so much they might as well just go with it at this point.
It kind of saddens me that, like, according to the creators, they say they see Son Amy as a joke, but it's like, well, some of these writers, it really feels like they really want to, but they can't, so they have to make a joke out.
Well, that's as much fun as you can do, is and hint like buggery at it, basically.
Yes. Is that your girlfriend?
Yes,
what? No. Oh, I
She
get
wears
it.
the pants
She
in a
wears
relationship.
Nobody wears pants. Nobody.
It's either no pants or skirts.
Well, for the women at least.
Yeah, I'm going to stick around a while, hang out with my bros. No problem, but don't forget we have it. And that's all I just...
Yeah.
Just stares at him
that
thinking,
wasn't the only Son Amy, surprisingly that wasn't the only Son Amy tease in this episode.
Gag as well, yeah.
I'd probably say for season 2 at least, Robots in the Sky Part 4 is probably known for the best Son Amy moments. It's like for season 1...
I don't know. Late Fees had a pretty fucking good one.
For me, season 1, Translate This was the best. Season 1 surprisingly didn't have a lot of Son Amy moments. It had a few, but season 2 definitely had more.
Tails, please shut that thing up before I tell Sonic that I
There was
and then, of course, I care about your well-being.
And care about your well-being later in that episode. Late Fees had a good one where they just take a selfie and just run off or it explodes.
Walk off the edge before it explodes, yeah. So they do hang out. I mean, we established those two hang out on their own.
I wasn't a big fan of Late Fees,
and evil Dr. Orbot has them at a picnic.
Yeah.
There's like, how much more do you want?
Just kiss already, damn it.
Just get in bed and do it.
Look, they don't need to be a lovey-dovey couple, I'm fine if they decide to keep it secret, but at least have a scene that shows, them admitting it. Even if it's in private, that's fine with me.
Well, if we get a Series 3, maybe we'll be lucky, but who knows?
I mean, because, look at how Sonic X did it. Season 2, it actually ended with Sonic and Amy getting together, at least according to the Japanese version. So, season 3, did it make them all lovey-dovey? No. Amy knows she finally got Sonic to open up to her, and so she's excited to push it forward. Sonic's not ready yet. And so that offered a lot of comical moments. So it was able to push their relationship forward, but not really change it. And it's like, I was kind of hoping Sonic Boom would do something like that. And
they might have said, if we get a Series 3, maybe, I don't know, if it was me, I'd just do one last-minute gag where the episode's about to end, she just kisses him and said, okay, bye, and then just have the episode end.
I'd even be fine if they did it in, A Nightmare Before Christmas way, where you don't see it, it's like how that movie ended. You see Jack and Sally, from, a far distance. You can barely see, but they're kissing because the way they lean towards each other. And it's like,
because if they actually showed it, you would have to start explaining how one of them kisses without technically lips.
I remember saying even if they didn't fully show it, would have been funny to make a scene where it looked like they were about imagine if they had an episode that starts off similarly to Curse of the Cross-Eyed Moose, where Styx freaks out and she barges in somewhere, freaking. So what if they did the same thing? But you see her barge into Amy's house. You see Sonic and Amy quickly pulling their faces away from each other. They have their and they're like, what? It just happens so fast. That would be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. I see them doing that.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to drag this part on too long. So then we cut to
Eggman falls out. Yeah, falls out the Hypnobot, and Hypno just goes ahead and takes all Eggman robots to go up to Morris Town, and Amy finally actually still has her inner beam. I'm still wondering. they still have Ender beans, but I don't think they actually use that little device anymore that Lyric had.
Yeah, I only recall, like, before this, I only recall Amy using hers, like, at the beginning of the Role Models episode when they all rode in on the plane.
I mean, they all have Series 2, they all have the communicators. That's the one thing they decided to keep as a main thing. Is like, oh, we're going to have that on the wrists.
Yeah, Knuckles with a triangle, Amy with a circle, Knuckles with a square. I can't remember what Tails is. I think Tails is like kind of oblong a little bit.
Like a watch. I think it's just a watch, essentially. That's his.
Styx doesn't have one. She has a regular.
No, because
she has a rotary phone.
Yes.
But
I even got to mention, actually, she's got a staff. I mean, that's one thing they've introduced. I can't remember if they introduced in Series 2, but she has a staff.
And a crossbow.
Yeah, and a crossbow.
Which I'm not too sure whether or not it's a direct reference to Sonic the comic.
I was going to go with Ninja Turtles. I mean, the fact she's got nunchucks is like, well, there you go.
And she's actually able to use them. It's like in the original, they couldn't show Donatello using his nunchucks.
Well, the fact is, yeah, in our country, we weren't allowed that for a long time.
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Mutant Hero Turtles.
But then we move on.
Masters of the Censorship. Turtle Power.
I don't know if this was intentional, but I couldn't help but laugh at the possibility that they made a Step Brothers reference in this episode, because, there's...
Oh, yeah, that's actually one little thing they put here, yeah.
They say something at the same time, then Eggman, did we just become besties?
Yeah, I hate that thing with the fury of 1,000 suns.
Yeah. That was definitely a shout-out to Step Brothers. I don't know if it was intentional, but it definitely seemed like one.
I've never seen that. I just saw the trailer, and yeah... I remember that line.
It's stupid but funny. It is a funny movie.
But anyway, we basically get the team up. You gotta have the
right messed up sense of humor to appreciate it.
But anyway, we get the team up of basically an evil genius and a robotic evil genius to take on the gang. Except Cuba have to stay home.
One thing that really stood out in this episode was how they had like an actual choir for the music and the battles. I mean, that really gave these more of an epic scale.
Oh, yeah.
So that said, I think it's probably... Well, James might know this because he knows about music. I mean, you can make your keyboard or music according to sound like in a choir, don't you?
But
yes,
the fact they went to the effort to make it sound like one. Okay.
I know, but I'm just saying...
It sounded good.
I know, it's kind of funny they put that in there for this one.
It almost gave it like a Marvel cinematic... Well, not as good, but a vibe at least. Yeah. I thought it really suited the scenes well. It made them, I mean, especially during the last act, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. But
no.
The Miton and Bolts are showing around Morrison Town, and basically all the buildings look the same. It's like that's the library, and that's the council that's the committee for the council. We make sure all buildings look the same.
Yeah.
That was such a tease because one thing that really got people excited for this episode was they were finally leaving the island. We were finally going to see them go someplace different, and it was very simple in design. I mean, it still looked nice, but the fact that, it's like, darn, this is all we're getting, isn't it? Just a bunch of...
Well, essentially what we got from Robokin, or whatever you want to say, we got the main outside area, we got the interior corridors, the secret bunker, and basically where Hitlerbot was, I guess, the sort of the chair area.
And you have the city square.
Exactly, yeah. So... And it's funny because they did point out the reason why they did this, as a full part of it, is, well, we made this environment, might as well get our money's worth out of it. So, typical fashion, it's like, we built something, probably not be able to build anymore, but hey, let's use the best as much as we can.
Remember when people actually had patience, took time to actually make things look good. But yeah, that's nothing, keep in mind, part 4 was my all-time favorite part of this 4-parter special. So it's just a minor nitpick. I love this,
Yeah. So...
It's just it could have looked a little better, but it was still fun.
Yeah.
Eventually, Hypnobot and all Eggman's robots to turn up to take it back over.
Did someone call for an invasion?
And along with that, Amy, Styx, and Knuckles appear and got a good Son Amy moment, but also a Styx and Knuckles moment. Weirdly, just kind of look at each other for a split second, and that's it. And a lot of people go, "Yeah, that's a couple. I'm shipping that. Yep.
Just a simple,
draw.
I can't help but agree. You know, I'm one who hates shipping Sonic characters, but I couldn't help but. I mean, let's face it, Knuckles and Sticks, they are good for each other. They have such an appreciation for nature. And
Well, put it this way, that actually later on in that same episode, there's a sequence in which both of them are playing chess, which makes you wonder exactly how the hell would that work with those two.
Chest.
And here's the funny thing: I don't think any of them knows how to play chess because
I know.
Knuckles definitely doesn't have the
Tails and Amy are probably only ones.
Teaching.
Yeah.
And then there's the beginning of the I Can See Sonic's Fear from Here episode, and Tails was trying to teach Sticks how to play. So the fact they were playing the game, they had no idea how to play it.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, the red one would just assume he wins, and the paranoid one would just throw a tipsy.
Yeah, I think Tails and Amy are the two people who know how to play chess.
Yeah, well, they're technically the smart people in the group.
Yeah, it's like we've never seen Amy play chess, but she knows how to play fuzzy puppies. She obviously knows how to play chess.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, then let's see, Hypnobot, he manages to possess Myton after trying to save Bolts, and so they all have to vanish and they go in. Well, they have to evacuate and they hide inside the bunker, and all of a sudden,
like your Doomsday, Vulcan. Vulcan, yeah, let Lightning, very good.
So
they
realize that,
yeah.
Well, eventually they
need more.
Sticks is very impressed,
but they can't because if they make any more robots, they'll get mind controlled. And so Bolts comes up with the idea to make cyborg clones of them using robot and DNA from parts DNA from Sonic and Pals. And you see like how he plucks off the hairs of Knuckles and Sticks, and
like I said, while playing chess.
Mm-hmm.
Like
you keep saying chest. It's chest.
Do I?
Yeah.
Chess.
I'm hearing chest. You're pulling hairs off of Knuckles' chest. Why are you doing that?
No, not that.
And so,
No, not that. That's a different.
I must say, I really liked what they did with the cyborgs. I mean, it's such an interesting cliche because usually in a show, when you see cyborg clones, they're always evil, and so for once to see one where they're actually, on the same side as the main heroes, that was interesting. And then, of course, they made a later episode where something happened in them, but the reason was more justified. But I like the cyborg clones. I mean, especially Sticks and her cyborg clone. It was so funny because, Sticks is a character who doesn't trust robots, and so there's a robot clone of her that has part of her mind in it, and so that robot, they could have easily made it where the robot Sticks doesn't trust animals. Instead, she doesn't trust herself because she knows she's a robot. That was humorous.
The one machine
she's like, I don't trust this person, and then I don't trust me either.
I like this one. She's got spunk.
Yeah. It's like, darn, I wish we got more scenes with Sticks and her cyborg duplicate because
that feels like there's an episode worthy in there, but. Yeah, it was kind of funny because when we did Series 1, I did say it wouldn't be funny if there were robot duplicates of the other characters, like, oh, you have Metal Sonic make Metal Amy, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And, well, they took one version of that idea and did their own spin, so, all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was refreshing to finally see a robot army that's not evil.
Two Sonic teams actually fighting all the robots, and we have a good line from Nicole saying, who says I skipped leg day? So, shout out to the freaking fan base there.
See, I like it when they use meta humor like that. They use it sparingly. It happens so quickly. Instead of making a bunch of scenes that just drag down, and it happened so quickly. It was upbeat. I liked that. I mean, there's some episodes where they use meta humor like that, and it really kind of it's like, okay, we get it. We've heard this joke before. I don't know why. For some reason, that one actually helped the scene out.
Yeah, but like you said, the main thing is, well, particularly these four parters, is that there's a lot of big, either action scenes, and stuff like that. And I'm trying to remember because essentially we've had. In part one, there's the misunderstanding at the beginning, then there's the fight at Eggman's lair. Part two is the plane chase and the village attack. Part three is running into Roboken and the villagers bothering to do something. And this one, it's initially the invasion, and then finally the, both teams coming together to save the day.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I kind of wish we kind of saw more scenes with Sonic and his duplicate and Amy with hers. I mean, we got like some good shots of Tails, Sticks, and Knuckles interacting with theirs. I felt like Sonic and Amy's went by too quickly.
Yeah, I did notice that whenever you watch it. I mean, there's only one thing they do is they pin down the Obliterator Bot, as he's known from episode 2.
But we don't see much interactions with them, though. We don't see them,
That's what I mean.
having,
That's the only thing I remember.
vocal interactions. We don't see them, high-fiving each other.
Yeah. Yeah, but we do get, for people who saying, it wasn't an old action show, it's like, well, you got your action here, kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the action was really good.
Yeah.
And, of course, Sonic, he gets his leg hurt again, and Hypnobot's about to command Maiton to get Sonic, finished off, and so...
Basically, we get an epic slow-mo last-second save of the day.
Tails just flying in there with his wrench ready to smash his creation, something he failed to do before, but now he's ready for, and...
That's something
the attention for that scene was really good.
Yeah, I actually was going to ask you guys, have you noticed that some of the fights, Tails is using his wrench quite a lot? I mean, I don't know if you noticed that.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, I don't really think his Tails, would really be much, just slapping a character.
No, but I just find it funny that...
Giving him a wrench to fight with is pretty unique.
He does tend to bring that out quite a lot in some of the... Particularly, I think, in the latter half of Series 1 and then 2.
Well, it's like, Amy, she can't fight without her hammer. Stick, she can't fight without her weapons. So Tails, it's like, he doesn't always have his inventions around, so what will he use when he doesn't have his inventions? His wrench, and I think...
Just use a tool. There's a reason why you got a tool belt.
Yes, there's a reason why he wears that stuff.
So, yeah.
We get a good little line after the victory, basically. You got to come with us? No, we're down to your planet. We'll probably get corrupted and enslave you all. Yeah, that's what I would do if I was a robot.
So basically, she predicted the comeback episode. The robots did.
Except it didn't quite happen that way. They got corrupted because Eggman went to them.
I know, but essentially that's what happens. It was like kind of, well, you kind of know well, if we did, we know what episode we'd be in.
And so, of course, I remember noticing this when I watched the episode, and I liked how a later episode did acknowledge it, although not quite. I noticed, when Sonic and Tails are leaving, you see the Cubot prototypes and Friendbot, they stayed behind. They're just standing there waving, Sonic and Friendbot. So I remember when we heard that they were making an episode where the Cubot Valley returns.
Return of the Cubot Valley.
And so I remember thinking, is this going to have any continuity in it? Because I thought they stayed behind. And so...
I would imagine between the two episodes, the Cubots was basically just irritating the fuck out of everyone. So I was like, just go back, you were safer there, because there's no buttons to destroy the entire city.
There's no buttons for you to push your heads on.
I remember telling Niki, although I did like the return to Beyond the Valley Cubots, I hate the title of that episode. It's so long. But
those silly titles.
I remember telling him, I thought, although I liked the episode, I felt like they could have done a better job at introducing how the Cubots were back all of a sudden. I said they should have made where there was a trial scene at the beginning in Robokin, and we actually see how... they're mad at Eggman for what he did in the Eggman Family Vacation episode. He invaded, and broke their trust. And so they put the Cubots and Friendbot on trial to see if they're trustworthy, if they still have an allegiance with Eggman. So Friendbot, he passes. He proves that he does not. Yeah, and then they go to the Cubots. What do you have to say? I don't know. Then all of a sudden they get banished or something. I mean, then
none of that,
or back on the Valley of Cuba. That would have been a funny setup.
Yeah, none of that, or
missed opportunity.
I'm gonna say either that, or I just would have done a quick cutaway joke where it's like, "Why are you down here again?" You just see them wandering around. One of them finds a button, and it just chucks them out of the fucking town.
Yeah, I wish they did a funnier because. Yeah, although it did have continuity for why Friendbot wasn't there, it's okay, they didn't bother explaining why the Cubots are back all of a sudden, because they made it look like, okay, they're staying. And
only other episode...
And it probably would have helped if Part 4 actually did acknowledge, if we actually saw, Sonic Tails are about to leave, and they ask if Friendbot's coming back, and he decides, he feels more welcome here or something, and so then they could have had a proper send-off with those characters. And
But that said, at the end of the day, for all we know, they probably were putting these productions, and maybe they found out, we got this 4-parter going up, and it's like, wait a minute, how do we connect continuity? Sod it, just get on with it. So,
yeah.
Anyway,
well, that is Robots from the Sky.
Oh, we end with a joke with Knuckles getting off himself on the chair.
Yeah.
Yep. Continuing the trend of having him be the last one to speak in these episodes, except instead he can't joke about cliffhangers, so he just decides to enjoy the massage chair.
He decides
Wouldn't you? Have you been in a massage chair? It feels great.
Yeah. Especially down that area.
Yeah.
Can't complain there.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a guy,
Yeah.
a guy who lives to ache his muscles to be buff. It's like that's probably the first time he ever relaxed his muscles.
So,
Anyway.
overall, Rubbers in the Sky, I think, was actually a pretty decent four-parter. Actually, each episode was, even though it's connected individually and on sets, its overall story, great action scenes, actually utilized every character up until that point. So it wasn't just, hey, we've got this one character. He's going to be around? I don't know. We're going to see him? Maybe. So...
It was
Great
good.
job, I thought. I mean, just hands down. Overall, in terms of execution and everything. And this is the kind of thing that we were teased. They delivered.
I was expecting, like, with Doctor Who, maybe a couple two-parters. Because, like, there's, like, in Doctor Who, especially the first seasons, there are, like, 3 two-parters.
Yeah, normally they kind of go from a session of, the first ones are okay, the second ones are interesting, and then the last 2 are the big finales.
I think the term you're looking for is multi-part episode. This was not a 2-parter.
No, I was saying,
No,
I was expecting a couple two-parters.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of like, although I really like this, I kind of wished it was treated more like a TV movie instead of, split into 4 parts.
When it comes on DVD, I guarantee you it will be a fucking TV movie.
Well, unless I
at least to me, honestly, as far as the other TV movies for children's shows, the other one I watched was like years ago, Power Rangers Samurai Clash of the Red Rangers. It was touted as a movie. It's like it's 40 minutes long. It's just 2 episodes, and even then, you just use one Red Ranger, the RPM Ranger, and you don't use any other Rangers. It's like it's barely a team up.
Well, it's like It's like this might be a little off topic, but it's like they had a TV series of the movie Tangled, and that had some specials.
Yeah, they do.
Good. They just aired the season finale last. Trust me, like I'm one who first saw it, and I was like, oh, this is probably a cash grab.
I thought it was weird. I thought it was like kind of odd that going years back, like recently, like there's the Home has a Netflix series, the Cruise have a Netflix series.
Yeah.
Skylanders has a Netflix series, which actually has a Crash Bandicoot in it.
But,
Skylanders, the Netflix series, that's great. I love it.
But I was like,
it's kind of
like I was also saying years back, Viva Pinata had a TV series.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Tak and the Power of Juju had a TV series.
But one thing that makes Tangled a good series is it has the original voice actors back.
Rayman had a good series. Whoa.
No.
Well,
I was about to say, like, are you serious at first? But,
Thank you, Billy West.
So Tangled, it actually has the original voices back, Mandy Moore and Zachary Levi, and it even has the original composer. I mean, that's something that not even the original like Aladdin TV show. They couldn't get Alan Menk back, and
Robert.
So yeah, I remember like when I first heard the Tangled show, I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna hate this. It's a cash grab. It's probably gonna have no continuity of the movie it's based on. There's probably gonna be no story. So I tuned into it, and it started off of an hour-long premiere, and it was really good. I was impressed. So it's had at least like 3 TV movies so far, and they aired one last night, yesterday, which was the season finale, and that was really good. And so, although those were treated like multi-parters, they felt like a movie. Sonic Boom, I can't quite say it felt like a movie. It did feel like a long, 4 episodes put together, but it definitely felt bigger in scale. But I wouldn't say it quite felt like a movie.
But I definitely, when I did my little, because I did a feature length of them, again, my idea was like to really make them feel like if it was one long continuing thing rather than, just as 4 episodes. And like I said, it does, when I rewatch them, funny enough, and I'll give my views, for the most part, I think the main line of the whole thing of basically discovering the city and the robots and the Bedema, it does flow actually pretty well with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Again, even those separate 4-parters, which I'll ask later on, I think actually they stand on their own 2-3. Again, if you want to be scrutinized, I did watch it and I did think little things didn't make sense or minor nitpicks and blah, 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 and all that stuff, which if I was being anal, which I Many times I've been anal, but not this time. I will say for the most part, it does feel like fun, and there is this weird tradition of all the Sonic shows having multi-parters, Adventures, SAM, Underground, X, so this just joins up with that whole thing.
X, only time it actually had a multi-parters when it actually was adapting the Adventure 1 and 2
That's what I mean, is when they did Adventure 1 and 2, those type of things. But for them, actually, one thing I'll ask all of you, this could be our...
And then all of Season 3 was one big multi-parter, so...
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was more than Journey. I was going to ask you, an episodes alone, out of all the 4, which would you say was your favourite to least favourite? All 3 of you.
Oh, go ahead.
I can't pick a favorite because to me this all just meshes together into one episode.
Yeah,
right.
I would agree
just
as well.
like to trim.
It's like I will say like I get some good parts in episode 1, then there's like decent parts in episode 3, then episode 4. Episode 2 I don't really care much for.
Okay then.
I'd say from. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. If you just take out the if you just take out the cliffhanger jokes with Knuckles, you can edit it all together smoothly.
All right.
Well, I'd say like they definitely felt a little different in tone for each other, though. It's like the first 3 parts they felt more silly, and then the 4th one felt more grand. It had like a different sounding music, and so you could kind of argue, wow, this doesn't really. It's like if you watch them back to back, you can kind of notice like the difference in tone from each one, like how it goes from sillier to a little more serious, But if I were to rank like what I thought was from least to best, I'd say part 1 was the least best. Part 3 was probably, the third best. Number 2 was second best, and then number 1 was part 4 was the best.
I will say this, in terms of watching them, like I said, you can watch them as all 3. Although in terms of the way the episodes was, I thought part 1 was the most I felt like a normal episode of Boom, and just happened to have a cliffhanger. 2 and 3 are mostly connected, and then 4 feels like you can see that as an epilogue / ending to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Like you guys are probably wondering like why did I find part 2 better than 3? And
no, it's fair enough. It could be anything. It's a bit slower.
Yeah, it's like I loved part 3. I loved I already said I had a few nitpicks with that one that like the villagers still being jerks, and so part 2 I remember like having more laughs from that one. And, I think we forgot to mention, a little off topic, but I remember there was one part we forgot to mention from part 3, after all the robots are turned back to normal, there's that funny part where you see Orbot and Cubot, with the trash can. And
oh, yeah, they're running around with a bin.
Yeah, it's just like...
They just stand, and then they just keep going on. That was so funny. I loved that part.
Yeah, even when
that was like a joke you would see in The Simpsons,
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it coming, but I laughed anyways.
They would.
Yeah.
So
see, even that obvious joke in this show can still work if it's done right.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what I like. I like it when because I hate it when you see a joke and you feel like you've seen it so many times to the point where they didn't really do anything creative. But that's one of my biggest problems with the Chain Letter episode.
You mean like everything in the Show Dogs trailer? Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, this 4-part special was really good. I liked them all.
Yeah. So we're unanimous.
So out of 5 stars. So out of 5 stars, what would you give it?
Oh, good. This is our ratings.
Let's see. Part 1, I'd probably give it 3 out of 5. It's not too great, but not too bad. I'd say part 2 and 3, I'd probably give them 4 stars, and then. The last one I'd give it 5.
Okay. You, James?
As
a whole or individual?
As a whole, 5 barrel rolls out of 5.
Okay.
So for me, I guess it would be 4 out of 5 for the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would give it, probably a 4 out of 5 for me as a whole.
Yeah, I'll give it 4 out of 5 as well. Maybe 4.5 because the overarching story was what's the word? What was the story, just arcing all 4 of them and linking each one together.
Yeah.
Rather than just like, hey, in the meanwhile...
Yeah, meanwhile in this episode.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they should have had that...
meanwhile, back at the plot.
Yeah.
They should have had like a comic panel pop up and be like,
oh, one of those
It
things.
kind of makes you realize, though, it almost makes you realize they could have easily cut part 1 out, though, and rewrote it a little better to.
Like I said, it felt like the most like a traditional Sonic Boom episode, but then it kicks in with a cliffhanger. So, like I said, that's the one that sort of feels like, view it as its own. Okay, regular episode of Boom.
Yeah, they could just cut out the Cubot bit and they'll be fine. It would have been its own episode. There's like robots from the sky. There we go. Episode 2 could have been completely unrelated until like 2 episodes later. Oh, they're back. This time there's something wrong.
I mean, it's kind of like what Gravity Falls did with its it technically, people say it had what was it, a 3 or 4 part finale? And,
well, the Weemageddon, you can count that as a 4-parter, essentially.
But there was an episode right before that really kicked it off. I mean, Weird Mageddon started right at, and so it's like technically I like to consider that episode before it part of the finale, but it's not.
Yeah.
It feels like it
way,
belongs there, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, there are some episodes that feel like a kickoff to the main event, but like I said, these felt like all linked in anyway.
It really kicked off the tone for Weird Mageddon, but
Boom, at least this one felt consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of like in Doctor Who series 3, where Utopia was supposed to be its own episode, but no, it's part 1 of the.
It becomes a cliffhanger that leads into the next 2, which essentially it's an unofficial 3-parter. That's what I used to say to you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it for this podcast. I've got to get dinner. That's the reason why I'm cutting it short.
Yeah, I was going to say we've been doing this for quite a bit. I thought we were going to say a lot about robots.
Yeah.
we spent more time speaking about this 4-parter than it actually takes to watch it, so...
There you go.
Well, when someone does a review of Phantom Menace longer than the actual Phantom Menace, then yeah.
Then you know you're in trouble. That's the
okay.
way to get away from the bedroom, get outside, have a drink of water, meet your friends, get away from this thing. Unlike us, we have to stick with it because everybody's trying to push us away from it. All of the time.
Anyway, thank you all so much for listening to us ramble for a very long time. I'm not too sure how long it's been ongoing. It's been going on for over an hour, so why not?
So if you've been sticking around this long, thank you very much for our impassionate views, I guess.
Yep. So follow us on Twitter. Our net handles are up on screen. Subscribe for more podcasts, which we will get around to. Who knows when?
Put it this way: if
our
Series
Twitter
3
handles are here.
If Series 3 gets announced, yeah, we're gonna do actually fire these.
We're gonna
out.
rush like hell to get it done.
Episode 53, go!
Yes. Blah, blah, blah.
Trick question. There's no episode 53.
Yes.
Lightning round. Go.
Exactly.
Give
Anyway,
us a
last
chance.
thing.
Oh wait,
Exactly.
we already did that.
Yeah, as I said, thank you for listening, and I'd also like to thank Clint for joining in with us. I'm hoping you had fun with us rambling with us.
Yep. In fact, if you guys wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind, like talking about more if we ever had to. But...
Yeah. I think definitely we'll have another time, maybe later on, but maybe the 2-part.
Yeah. Also, check the YouTube channels in the description below.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would like to shake your hand. Give me a little...
Virtually.
Yes. Good to have you
I'll
on
just
board.
do that because at least it doesn't look like I'm wanking.
Looks like you're hitchhiking.
Yes, I am hitchhiking.
We'll get to that later.
Yes.
It's a good film.
All right.
I liked it.
Yeah, I like it. James, get on that. He does a series about books and movies.
Yeah. Ciao for now, y'all.
Yeah.
See you all
ya.
next time.
Bye.
Thank you.